Habits. What are habits? Habits are those actions that you do over and over and over again that they become part and parcel of who you are. You can have good habits and you can have bad habits. But what we'll be doing in this video is taking you through 5 steps on how you can develop effective habits. Number 1, ensure that the habit is done in a way that is so easy, it's literally laughable. And because it's easy, you find yourself eager to cultivate the habit. For example, exercising. You want to be healthy. And because you want to be healthy, you think of registering at the gym, getting the outfit, developing a really rigorous exercise plan. But what tends to happen is, for a lot of us, halfway through, you end up not doing it. So what I'll suggest is, rather than overthinking it and overdoing it, think of something simple. When I had that problem, when I found out that I wasn't really going to the gym, I decided to start exercising at home. I started doing 10 minutes of cardio every day. And when I thought of that, I thought, Toju, 10 minutes, how effective would that be? How effective would that be? But because I did that every other day consistently, I was able to see results. So when you start with doing a simple habit, do it in a way that is simple, but the key to it is ensuring that it's consistent. When you find that it's consistent, with time, you're able to intensify it. So I started with 10 minutes for the first 2 weeks. And because I was consistent with it, I was able to increase it to 20 minutes. So 20 minutes of serious cardio, I found it quite effective. Number 2, have an accountability partner. If you're trying to develop a habit and you're going alone, what tends to happen is when you break the habit, because it's just you, when you break the habit, you lose no skin. You take it for granted. But when you have an accountability partner, you have someone that you have told you're going to do A, B, or C, they will follow you up on it. I love to read. And because I love to read, I ensure that I do give or take a couple of pages every day. And when I find that I am failing, I have my accountability partner with me at home in the person of my son Xavier. So what I tell him in the mornings is that, Xavier, today, Mama is going to read 20 pages. So before you go to bed, ask Mama if she's done her 20 pages. Imagine giving your son power. Every night before he goes to bed, he comes to me to ask, Mommy, have you done your pages? At first, I start to lie, but then there's so much lying you can do that eventually I find myself doing it. So that when he asks me, I'm able to say, yes, Mama has done her pages. Number 3, identify the emotion behind the habit. It's really important. Why do you want to cultivate the habit? Why do you want to cultivate the habit? When you identify the emotion behind it, you find that you're more committed to it. Haven't you heard the story of a man goes to see the doctor and the doctor tells him, Mr. John, if you don't start eating healthily, you run the risk of having a heart attack. And what happens? Mr. John, that has never eaten healthily in his life, all of a sudden starts to eat healthily because of the emotion behind it. He wants to live. He wants to live for his family. He wants to live for himself. And then, because of that intensified emotion, he starts to cultivate a healthy habit. Number 4, reward yourself. Reward yourself. It's really, really important that when you start to do a habit and you find that you're progressing, reward yourself. When you reward yourself, what happens with the brain is that you release a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is what we call a happy emotion. So using the example of the gym, if you decide you do want to start going to the gym and you're able to go to the gym 3 times a week. At the end of the week, you can go to the cafeteria at the gym and take that lovely smoothie. That smoothie that you enjoy, treat yourself to it. So what happens then is when you do that, your brain ties in the emotion that you're feeling with that habit. And there's a connection between happy feeling and the habit. And then you find that you're actually eager to do that exercise because of the emotion that comes with it. Number 5, especially at the early stage, I know this is hard, try not to have an exception. Try not to have an exception, especially at the formative stage. If you decide you want to wake up 6 o'clock every morning, when your alarm clock goes up, a lot of us, what do? We touch the snooze button and we want to go back to sleep. Don't do that. Especially at the formative stage. Count 3, 2, 1, get up. No matter what the excuse you might have, get up and do it. Because when you start breaking and causing an exception, especially in the formative stage, it's very, very, very difficult for you to develop that habit. So there we have it. 5 easy to do habits. But the key to it is ensuring that you do it consistently. When you do it consistently, over time, you will be able to cultivate that habit.